when the presidency of the European Council for the semester asked me to be their ambassador, I was impressed by their choice. I was surprised and very much humbled by their thinking that an astronaut would be a good ambassador. At the same time, it made sense to me because Europe is future. To me, it's one and the same word. The future is the evolution of society, the evolution of our countries evolving into something else, something bigger, something better. But space also talks about future. It is the place where future things happen and are prepared. So the experience has been amazing. I've had a privileged platform to talk to people, to tell them how important it is to believe in Europe, to feel the need to be European, not because you lose your national identity, but because through your national identity you can bring your part of support to improve what Europe is today. It doesn't matter whether I'm Italian or French or German. Europe is our country. I can cross those boundaries that we designed through millennia of wars and of a history that we need to overcome. Because one thing that my experience in space taught me is that those lines, those borders on the ground are imaginary. They don't exist. They are invisible from space because they are really inside us. So our part as citizens is really to try and come out of those limits that are within us, to understand that they exist and to destroy them so that we can all be better, stronger when we are united. I believe that in the 6 months of the semester, from this privileged platform, I've had the chance to talk about my experience as an Italian that through Europe, because I'm an Italian astronaut of the European Space Agency, it's been a journey that started from Italy, from Sicily actually, where I'm from, crossed Italy and through Europe I realized my dream, and it would not have been possible without the European Astronaut Corps, European Space Agency, and the roles of all the countries involved with space. I would like to say even more. I am even more than European. I believe that the future should be of a global understanding, that we are all humans traveling in one spacecraft. We call it planet Earth, but we are traveling to space in the one planet that we know supports life. So we need to be together, understanding that this is our only home and that we need to treat it really well and be understanding in order to continue in our future. The experience of being in orbit for 6 months is so unique in a way, and the environment is so unique that my idea was that if there was something that I could do on the ground, then I wouldn't do it while I was up there. And it was a conscious effort not to miss it. Instead, I tried to do things that were not possible anywhere else. The space station is very big, is an amazing environment, and I didn't miss any of the small things. You can really do without the small things when you have so much more when you are in orbit. Every time I tell my story, every time I relive my story, it's almost as if I'm doing it all over again, and also I'm letting people take part in it, being an active participant in my experience. So when I was on orbit, I was communicating to the ground through blogs, through the social network, social media, and out of that experience came the book Volare that I wrote. Volare means flying, and it's also a very famous Italian song, but it's something everybody can identify with, both in Italy and outside of Italy. So the book is a collection of the stories that I wrote while I was in space. So it's the first book that was written in space. One more thing that is very important for me, it's also a way to give back. All my proceedings will go into a scholarship to let other people experience what I did, because when I was 16 I won a scholarship and I went to the United States for 1 year, and that changed my life. So maybe if I can change one person's life, I will have done my part too. What does an astronaut do when you're on the ground after flight? Well, it would be very frustrating for astronauts to be happy or to be working only when they are in space. In reality, 90% of our work is done on the ground. So right now, I'm much busier than I was before during training and while in orbit, because I work in all different kinds of environments. As far as a new space flight, I'm naturally hoping for a new flight. I've been dreaming about it since I came back, because once you have a taste of what it's like to live in space, it becomes something that you want to try again. We don't know nowadays what it will take for the next generation of astronauts to become astronauts. In my generation, we selected, or the European Space Agency selected pilots, mostly test pilots, engineers, and scientists. But in the future, we will need doctors, we will need operators, we will need people of all kinds to be more than explorers, to be colonizers. Because there is no way of knowing what we need in the future, my suggestion to the next generation is to be good at what they love to do. The best thing that you can do in order to aspire to something is to be the best at what you do, and then that's how people notice you. Science is the core business of what we do on the space station, which is a laboratory. It's the biggest orbital lab ever built by humans, and that's what we do. 60 hours a week of incredible science that cannot be performed anywhere else in the world, and that's why we are out the world. Technology is also part of what we do. Today on the space station, we are testing the technology that will allow us to go further into space. 10 years from now, 20 years from now, when the new generation of astronauts will step on the surface of an asteroid, or maybe back to the moon or to Mars, they will use the technology that we are developing today. Is there a role for us as astronauts? Yes. Our role is what I'm doing right now, is to talk to people, inspire them with our stories, and show them that there is a future for technology, science, mathematics, engineering. All these things improve society, make it a better place to live, give us inspiration, give us purpose, and let us evolve into the future generations of explorers. You have to tell people, look, we have something to tell, and it's really interesting, it's really important. Social media is a very, very powerful tool in that sense. That's why I approached it in space. We are capable on the space station to talk directly to people, to interact with them. Does it make us feel supported? Yes, it does, because all these people that tell us that our story is interesting to them, that we inspire them, they write to us telling us that our story changed their life somehow. Even if it's in a very small way, changing lives and making them better, it's also part of what we do. It's a very important part of what we do. So yes, it is. That is why I started using the social media, and that is why I still do. It's to communicate and to interact with people.
You're used to it.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. And all these questions, I was like, okay, how many times is all good?
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many times, okay. Because for the person that asked me the question is the first time.
Yeah, of course.
So every person deserves the best answer I can give, every time.
No, it's good to take time. Sometimes you see people, oh yeah, okay, again, this question. Let's go on very quickly.
But the people that listen to you are probably different from the people that watch other programs all the time. They're probably getting bored with this. I probably sound like a broken disc.
Tu parla con le
Ma non si era
ignorante e
capito,
ciuccio.
non si era capito che eri normale, che parlavi.
Anche i piedi volete o no?
No.
Voilà.
Normalmente avremmo dovuto fare le foto per